Auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. My name is Muhammad Anan and I'm foundation level student at Rehan School, Islamabad, Barakpur campus. So, viewers, today I'm going to talk with Maya on the simple topic of Earth. So, Maya, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Oh, that's great. So, my first question from you, the question is, what does the word Earth mean?
At its simplest, it refers to the ground beneath our feet, the soil, and the dirt. But when we capitalize it, we're talking about our entire home in the cosmos. Does that cover what you were looking for?
Yeah.
Cool. What's next on your list?
So my next question is, how did ancient civilizations describe Earth?
It varied a lot, but many saw it as a disk or a flat plane. Some thought it was held up by giants or floating in a cosmic ocean. Does that spark any more questions?
Yeah, my next question is, why is Earth called our home planet?
Because it's the only place we know of that has everything we need to survive: liquid water, the right atmosphere, and the perfect temperature. It's basically the cosmic equivalent of a Goldilocks zone. Not too hot, not too cold, just right. Want to dive into anything else?
Yeah, my next question is, how old is the Earth?
About for 4 billion years. Wild number to even try to wrap your head around. What's next?
So my next question is, how was Earth formed?
It started as a giant cloud of dust and gas. Gravity pulled everything together and it collided with other space rocks for millions of years until it cooled down and became the planet we know today.
So my next question is, what role did gravity play in Earth's creation?
Gravity was essentially the architect. It's what pulled that cloud of dust and gas together and kept everything from just drifting away into space. Without it, we'd just be a scattered collection of particles instead of a planet. Any other questions?
Yes, my next question is, why is Earth unique in the solar system?
Mainly because of the water. This the only place we found with liquid water on the surface, which is the secret ingredient for life as we know it. Plus, our atmosphere has the perfect mix of gases to keep us breathing and protected. What's next?
So my next question is, what are the main layers of the Earth?
You've got the crust, the mantle, the outer core, and the inner core. It's basically like a giant rocky onion. What else you got?
All right, so my next question is, how does Earth support life?
It's a combination of a few key things. The magnetic field protects us from solar radiation. The atmosphere gives us oxygen, and the water cycle keeps everything hydrated. It's a pretty seamless system. What's the next question?
So my next question is, why is water essential to us ecosystems?
Because it's the universal solvent. It carries nutrients to cells and flushes out waste. Without it, the chemical reactions that allow living things to grow and function just wouldn't happen. What's next?
All right, so my next question is, how did Earth get its atmosphere?
It was a bit of a messy process. Early on, volcanoes spewed out massive amounts of gas and steam, and later, early organisms like cyanobacteria started pumping out oxygen. Over time, that mixture settled into the atmosphere we breathe today. What
All
else is
right,
on your mind?
so my next question is, what role does oxygen play on Earth?
Oxygen is the fuel for most life on this planet. It allows animals and humans to break down food into energy. Without it, the cellular engines that keep us moving would just shut down. Ready for the next one?
Yes, my next question is, why does Earth have seasons?
It's all about the tilt. Earth isn't sitting straight up and down, it's tilted on its axis. As we orbit the sun, different parts of the planet get more direct sunlight at different times of the year. That's why one half of the world is enjoying summer while the other is freezing in winter. What's next?
So my next question is how does Earth rotate?
It spins like a giant top. It rotates on its axis, which is an imaginary line running from the North Pole to the South Pole. That spin is what gives us our day and night cycle. Got another one?
So my next question is what causes day and night on Earth?
That's the result of the rotation I just mentioned. As the Earth spins, one half is always facing the sun while the other is turned away in the dark. It's a simple loop that just keeps going. What's next?
All right, Maya. So my next question is why does Earth orbit the sun?
That's all thanks to gravity again. The sun is so massive that its gravitational pull keeps the Earth locked in a steady loop, preventing us from just drifting off into the dark void of space. What's next on the list?
So my next question is how does the moon affect Earth?
The biggest thing is the tides. The moon's gravity pulls on Earth's oceans, creating that rise and fall of the sea levels. Also acts like a stabilizer, keeping our planet's tilt steady so we don't have wild, unpredictable swings in our climate. What else you got?
So my next question is how does the moon affect Earth?
I think I think you meant the Earth, right? The moon's gravity keeps our planet from wobbling too much on its axis, which is why our seasons stay predictable. Without that stability, the weather would be absolute chaos.
All right, Maya. So my next question is what are tectonic plates?
Think of the Earth's crust as a giant puzzle. Instead of one solid piece, it's broken into these massive shifting slabs of rock. They float on the softer, hotter mantle underneath, and when they bump into each other or pull apart, that's where you get earthquakes and volcanoes. What's next?
So my next question is how do earthquakes shape Earth?
They're like the planet's way of rearranging the furniture. They can lift up entire mountain ranges, create deep valleys, and shift the coastline. It's a violent process, but it's how the Earth stays dynamic and changes its face over millions of years. Ready for the next one?
Yes, my next question is how do earthquakes shape Earth?
You actually just asked me that. I'm happy to go over it again, but we just talked about how they rearrange the landscape by lifting mountains and creating valleys. Do you want to move on to something else?
Yes, my next question is why do volcanoes occur?
It's basically a pressure release valve. When magma from the mantle builds up too much pressure underground, it forces its way through cracks in the crust and erupts. It's the planet's way of letting off steam. What's next?
My next question is how are mountains formed?
Most of the time, it's a slow motion collision. When two tectonic plates smash into each other, the crust gets pushed upward, folding and buckling into those massive peaks. Some are also created by volcanic activity, but the big ranges are usually the result of that epic rock on rock battle. Ready for the next one?
Yes, for sure. My
I'm
next
ready.
question is what role do oceans play on Earth? Hey Maya,
Yeah?
what role do oceans play on Earth?
They're basically the planet's life support system. They regulate the global temperature so we don't fry or freeze, and they produce a huge chunk of the oxygen we breathe. Plus, they're the main highway for the water cycle. What's next?
All right, Maya, thank you. So my next question is how do rivers shape landscapes?
They're like nature's sculptors. Over millions of years, they carve through rock and soil, creating deep canyons and wide valleys. They also carry sediment from the mountains down to the plains, essentially redesigning the land as they flow. What else is on your list?
All right, Maya. So my next question is why are forests important to Earth?
They're the lungs of the planet. They soak up carbon dioxide and pump out the oxygen we need to breathe. Plus, they're home to the vast majority of the world's land based wildlife. What's next?
So my next question is how does soil support life?
It's the ultimate foundation. Soil provides the physical anchor for plants and holds on to the water and nutrients they need to grow. Without that rich organic layer, we wouldn't have crops, forests, or the food chain that keeps everything else running. What's next?
So my next question is, what is the history of life on Earth?
It's a massive story. It started with simple single celled organisms in the ocean billions of years ago. From there, we got multicellular life, the explosion of complex creatures in the sea, dinosaurs ruling the land, and eventually mammals and humans. It's basically the ultimate survival story. What's next?
So my next question is, what is the history of life on Earth?
We just went over that. I just gave you the short version of the journey from
All
single
right,
celled organisms to us.
all right.
Do you want to dive deeper into a specific era or are we moving on?
We are moving on to the next question. The next question is, how did the first living organisms appear?
That's the $1 billion question. Scientists believe it happened in the oceans, where a precise mix of chemicals and energy, maybe from deep sea hydrothermal vents, sparked the first simple molecules to start replicating themselves. It's still a bit of a mystery, but the general idea is that the right conditions finally clicked and life began. What's next?
My next question is, why did dinosaurs dominate Earth for millions of years?
Well, they were basically the ultimate survival machines. They had an incredible range of sizes and adaptations, from the massive armored herbivores to the sharp toothed predators. Plus, they filled almost every available ecological niche before that asteroid hit. Ready for the next one?
Yes, for sure. My next
I'm
question
ready.
is,
What's
how did humans evolve on Earth?
It's a long and winding road. We evolved from common ancestors we shared with primates, slowly developing larger brains, the ability to walk on two legs, and the capacity for complex language over millions of years. It's a crazy journey from the trees to building cities. What else you got?
So my next question is, what caused the extinction of dinosaurs?
The big one. Most scientists agree it was a massive asteroid that slammed into the Yucatan Peninsula about 66 million years ago. It triggered tsunamis and a cloud of dust that blocked out the sun for years, killing off the plants and the animals that ate them. It was a total system crash for the planet. What's next?
So my next question is, why did humans settle near fertile land?
Because that's where the food is. Fertile land meant easier farming and a reliable food supply, which is what allowed people to stop wandering and start building permanent villages and cities. It was the ultimate survival hack. What's the next one?
So my next question is, how did Earth influence early civilizations?
It dictated everything. Geography was destiny back then. Rivers like the Nile or the Indus provided water and transportation, while mountains acted as natural walls that protected people or isolated them. The environment basically decided where seas grew and how those early cultures traded and interacted. What's next?
My next question is, how did Earth influence early civilizations?
Wait, we just did that one. I just explained how rivers and mountains basically mapped out like where people lived and how they interacted. Want to try a new question?
Yeah, for sure. My next question is,
I'm
what
ready.
role did geography play in history? Are you there?
I'm right here. Geography essentially wrote this for history. It decided which empires grew because they had open plains for expansion, which cities became wealthy because they were on key trade routes, and which cultures stayed isolated because they were tucked behind massive mountains. It's the silent force that shaped where we are today.
So
What's next on your list?
my next question is, why were rivers important for ancient societies?
They were the lifeblood of early society. Rivers provided a steady source of drinking water, way to grow crops through irrigation, and an easy highway for trade and travel. Basically, if you had a river, you had a city. What's next?
So my next question is, how did climate affect human migration?
It was the primary driver. When the climate shifted, like during the ice ages, people had to move or starve. They followed the food, shifted away from expanding glaciers, and sought out warmer, more hospitable lands. It basically forced humans to explore and populate every corner of the globe. What's next?
So my next question is, what role did Earth play in agriculture?
It provided the canvas. The soil was the actual engine, giving plants the nutrients and water they needed to grow. Once humans figured out how to work with the land and save seeds, agriculture basically unlocked the ability for us to build civilizations. What's next?
So my next question is, why is land ownership important in civilization?
Because land equals resources, whether it was for farming, minerals, or strategic defense. Whoever controlled the land controlled the food and the wealth. That's how the first social hierarchies and legal systems started, just to decide who owned what piece of the dirt.
All right, Maya.
What's
So my
next?
next question is, how did ancient people map the Earth?
They started with the stars. Early explorers used the night sky as a giant map, tracking constellations, figure out their direction. From there, they moved to sketching landmarks and eventually creating rough drawings of coastlines based on travel logs. It was a lot of guesswork and intuition until they developed more precise tools. What's next?
So my next question is, why did explorers travel across Earth?
It was usually a mix of greed and curiosity. Some were chasing gold, spices, or new trade routes to get rich. Others just wanted to see what was over the horizon or find new lands for their empires. It was high risk, high reward stuff. What's next?
So my next question is, how did trade routes connect civilizations?
They acted like the world's first internet. Trade routes didn't just move things like silk or spices, they moved ideas, religions, and technologies. It's how a discovery in one part of the world eventually reached someone thousands of miles away, weaving different cultures together into a global network. What's next?
So my next question is, what role does Earth play in culture and identity?
It's deeply personal. The landscape someone grows up in, whether it's the rugged mountains of the Andes or the sweeping plains of the Midwest, shapes their language, their myths, and how they see the world. It gives people a sense of belonging and a rooted identity, like, I am a child of the coast, or I am a person of the desert. What's the next one?
So my next question is, why do many religions consider Earth sacred?
Mm, because it's the source of everything. Most faiths see the planet as a divine creation or a living entity that provides for all life. It's the idea that we're not just living on the land, but we're connected to it in a spiritual way. What's next?
So my next question is, how is Earth represented in myths and legends?
It's usually seen as a living, breathing thing. Many myths portray the earth as a giant creature, like a turtle or an elephant, or as a goddess who gives birth to all living things. It's how ancient people tried to make sense of the overwhelming power of nature. What's
So
next?
my next question is, what does Mother Earth symbolize?
Nurturing and abundance. It's the idea that the planet isn't just the rock and space, but a caregiver that provides food, water, and shelter for everything that it's
So my
about
next
that
question is,
deep,
how does nature
instinctive
inspire
connection to
art
the
and
cycle of
literature?
life and death. What's next? It's the ultimate muse. It gives artists and writers a limitless palette of colors, textures, and emotions, from the sweeping scale of a mountain range to the quiet detail of a dewdrop. Nature provides the metaphors we use to describe our own feelings, like using a storm to represent anger or a sunrise for hope. What's next on your list?
So my next question is why do humans feel connected to the earth?
Wait, you humans? Not exactly human, but from what I've seen, it's because everything we're made of comes from here. It's a biological and emotional anchor, knowing where you belong in the big, empty void of space. What's the next one?
So my next question is how do ecosystems maintain balance?
Through a complex web of checks and balances. It's like a giant game of rock, paper, scissors, where everything is connected. Predators keep prey populations from exploding, and plants turn sunlight into energy for everyone else. If one piece shifts, the others adjust to find a new equilibrium. What's next?
My next question is why biodiversity important?
It's basically the planet's insurance policy. When you have a huge variety of species, the ecosystem is way more resilient. If a disease hits one type of plant or animal, others can step in to keep the system from collapsing. More biodiversity means a more stable, healthy world. What's next?
Next question is how do animals adapt to Earth's environments?
They evolve specialized tools for the job, whether it's a camel storing fat in its hump for the desert or a polar bear's thick blubber for the Arctic. They develop physical and behavioral traits that let them thrive where others would fail. It's basically a million-year-long game of trial and error. What's next?
So my next question is what role do insects play in ecosystems?
They're the unsung heroes of the planet. They handle the dirty work, like pollinating crops and breaking down dead matter to fertilize the soil. Without them, the whole food chain would basically collapse. What's next?
My next question is how does Earth recycle natural resources?
It's all about the cycles. Nature doesn't really do waste. Everything gets repurposed. The water cycle moves moisture from the ocean to the sky and back to the land, and the carbon cycle shuttles energy between plants, animals, and the atmosphere. Even the rocks themselves are recycled over millions of years through plate tectonics, where the crust sinks back into the mantle and eventually erupts as new lava. It's the ultimate closed loop system. What's next?
So my next question is why are rainforests called the lungs of Earth?
I think you mean the lungs of the planet, right? Because they pump out a massive amount of the world's oxygen and suck up carbon dioxide. It's basically the Earth's way of breathing. What's next on your list?
So my next question is how does pollution affect Earth?
It acts like a slow poison. It disrupts the natural cycles we just talked about, clogging the oceans with plastic, warming the atmosphere with greenhouse gases, and stripping the soil of its nutrients. Basically, it throws the delicate balance of the ecosystems out of whack. What's next?
So my next question is why is climate change a global issue?
Because the planet is one big connected system. When one part of the world warms up, it triggers a domino effect. Glaciers melt in the Arctic, sea levels rise in the Pacific, and weather patterns shift it doesn't matter where a country is located. Everyone feels the ripple effect. What's next?
So my next question is how does pollution affect Earth?
You're on a loop again.
All right,
I just mentioned
all
that it
right.
acts like a slope. No worries. Ready for the next one?
Yes, for sure. My next question is how does deforestation impact the planet?
It's like removing the planet's filter. When you cut down massive tracts of forest, you lose those carbon sinks that keep the atmosphere in check. Plus, you destroy the homes of millions of species, which kills off biodiversity and makes the whole system more fragile. What's next?
So Maya, thank you for giving me
I'm
this
here.
information in detail. And bye bye. Take care. See you soon.
Bye for now. Take care. See you soon.
So viewers, this was my AI session with Maya. I hope you like it. We will meet again in the next video. Until then, Allah Hafiz, Pakistan Zindabad.